Welcome to the Orpheus training series. This is going to be the second type of search that you do in Orpheus, which is more of a report type system. That's an ad hoc query that gives you a list of records. So in the first lesson we saw that you could type something in here, like for example a name or a date of birth like Smith, and it searches and gives you all the records in multiple different parts of the application that match that thing. So for example, I can click here for Jimmy Smithereen, and it takes me to Jimmy Smitherton's case because Jimmy Smitherton was also known as Jimmy Smithereen. He changed his name. The other type of search that you get in Orpheus happens if you click this little icon here when there's no text in here. So you can clear that text out by either clicking it and deleting it, or you can click this little X icon here and that clears it out. If you just click this icon, that takes you to the power search screen in Orpheus. And just to do a good example of this, I could find anybody who was born 1/1 of any year. So I type in 1/1 /*, and then whose last name is Smith. So I go to the last name field and put in Smith. And this gives me a quick list of everybody, of all the cases in Orpheus, because I'm in the case search. These 32 cases where the last name of the person was Smith, and they were born 1/1 of some year. So if I see the date of birth field, I think that might be on a different list here, like the alternate list. Here we go. Date of birth, they're all born 1/1 of some year. I could further narrow that down by saying, let me see just everybody born 1/1 of 1980. I can go here and type 1/80 in the year, and then put Smith in the name. And this gives me a much smaller list. Now, this search object is context sensitive. So if you're on the main menu, or if you're looking at a specific case record in Orpheus, like for example if I was looking at this record here, then the search that you are doing, when you click this icon, it's going to say find cases in the top left. You can also do searches in different modules in Orpheus by being in that module. So for example, if I click on a case and I click to the person, so I want to see the person details behind this case record, and I click the search icon from here, now the search that I'm doing is actually a person search, so we can see the screen looks a little bit different. So for example, if I went in here and searched for Smith in the last name field, and 1/180 here, then what I would get is a list of people who may or may not even have case records associated with them. I'm basically searching the entire patient index. Also, another useful thing to note is if you want to take a look at this list and then compare it to a different list of names, a really good advanced feature is to go to the window menu and say new window, and then you get a separate list that you can search in a different way. So each window that you open has its own found set of records. And in this one I can do another search. I'll just click this and I'll say, let me find everybody whose name is Mary, who was born before, so I use the less than sign, 1/1 of 70. And it finds everybody who's born before that time. And so that's 38 records. And then I can just go back and forth between these two sets of records pretty easily by clicking from one to the other in my list here. And then when I'm done, I can just just close the windows as I'm done with them. So I'll close this one, and actually this one here popped up in a new window, and I can close that one as well. When you close the very last window, then you're actually exiting out of the application. But until you close the last window, you basically can keep working. This search feature has a lot of power behind it. So in addition to just being able to do searches for a specific case ID or a specific date of birth, you can search for ranges in these things. So for example, if I want to find all of my cases that I can see where the date of birth was between 1/180 and ... is the range, and 1/1580, I can type that range in there. And then when I do a search, it gives me a list of the 35 records where the date of birth is in that range. I'll sort these by date of birth, and we can see 1/1, and then we got 1/11, 1/15, so we've got some different dates in there. I can also add multiple different types of searches. So for example, if I want to get a list of all of the salmonella cases in 2 different counties, I can say salmonella and choose my specific disease, and that I can just start typing ahead here for salmonella. And I want to find all the ones for Salmonella where the current county is Lynn. And I also want to find all the Salmonella cases where the county is Benton. So I'm going to go to the Advanced tab here, and this has a whole bunch of additional fields I can search on, but some of them are the same that I've already seen. So for example, we can see diseases on this list, but to make space for some of the more advanced features, some of the other fields are not on there. For example, I see current county is not on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this initial request, and now I have 2 search requests. So you can see up in the top left here, I've got 2 search requests. And in my second request, I'm going to look for Salmonella cases in Benton County. So I go to my list here, and I go to Benton. And what this is going to list me when I click Perform Find here is a list of the Salmonella cases in both of those counties. So I can click Sort here, and I can see there's 1 in Benton and quite a few in Lynn. And so that's basically a really simple type of a report. It's a line list that you can get. Now, you should be aware that when you're doing a search in the case table in Orpheus, and you do a search that's going to yield a very large number of records, for example, every single case that you can see across all the counties that you can see, some of those searches could take a long time to operate because it has to do the security check to make sure for all the 150,000 records in Orpheus, if you're trying to list 10,000 of them, it's going to take quite a long time to test all of them to make sure that they're within your county and within your disease group. But if you're just looking for a small set of records, like 100 or so, it should be very fast and very useful to use. Another way to search if you're looking for larger sets of data is, just like we can go into the Person module and click this icon, if we click to the Reports tab in Orpheus, and we just go up here, it says Report Search. And if we click this icon here, now we're doing a report search. So we get a lot of the same fields we get for case, but in here, it's de-identified. So any search you do, it will be extremely fast. And also, since it's de-identified, you can search for every single case of every disease statewide. It just won't show you the name of the person who has it. So this is a really good way to get kind of aggregate testing queries of numbers of cases for a county. Then you can compare cases between counties that you normally wouldn't be able to see if you could see the patient names. And this basically works the same way. So for example, if I wanted to find Salmonella cases statewide, this would be a really good thing to do. Maybe all the Salmonella cases that have been reported since 1/1 of 2008. By the way, you also get a little icon here for the calendar that is a drop down, and it shows you the specific dates you're looking at. So if you're just looking at a single date, it's really useful to use that. Then if I run this search, I'll get that complete list. This is also sortable, so I can sort it by disease, by onset date, all the other fields that we have in other places that we search. Now, the other really nifty thing about this particular thing is if you can only see cases in a certain county, for example, if your county is only Lane, then if you click this Transfer to Case List button, it will show you all the records that you can see the names for in the case window. So I'm actually logged in right now as a full access user, so I can see all counties. So if I click this, I get those same exact records I get, including the name of the case. So it's actually kind of a nice way to do it if you want to try a bunch of different searches and you don't want to wait for the security test that has to happen for the normal feature. It's a pretty good way to go. So that's it, and thanks for your time.